Well, ActionSA is actually in a fight with its alliance partner, the Democratic Alliance. That's because the DA apparently circulated an SMS accusing ActionSA leader Herman Mashaba of being a populist fanning the flames of xenophobia in light of the recent anti-crime protests in Diepsloot. Now, ActionSA is calling on DA leader John Steenhuisen to issue a public apology for that SMS. We're now joined by Bongani Beloy from ActionSA. Bongani, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So you have actually seen this SMS. Tell us exactly what it apparently says.
Well, good evening, Shahan. We're really appalled by the SMS sent by the DA out to various people. I'll read the SMS to you guys so you've got a record of it and just hear just how ridiculous this SMS is. It reads, populists like Mashaba are fanning flames of xenophobia, which could lead to a repeat of the last year's riots and chaos. And we really find this as a tragedy that they could send such a distasteful message to citizens in trying to fearmonger citizens into a particular thinking about our leader or president of the party, but equally how the Democratic Alliance has cheapened the pain of the past June riots, where various people died. And I think for them, it's just a political football for them to do whatever they please, because really, I think this is a distasteful SMS. And I think the leader of the Democratic Alliance must take public account of this. It's no different to those infamous Phoenix posters that they sent. I really think that they need to take ownership and accountability and apologize for such a distasteful thing, and really as they spit on the pain of South Africans.
So obviously you're in alliance with the Democratic Alliance in Johannesburg and other areas. Where does this leave this alliance, given that you have a public spat regarding what you obviously say is a very serious accusation?
Look, we've got a coalition agreement that governs the coalition governments that we are involved in. We don't have an alliance with them. We still remain an independent political party, and we can take issue with the stupidity and clumsiness of the Democratic Alliance. And we're not going to take kindly to them insulting the intelligence of South Africans and also cheapening the pain of South Africans. So it does not affect the governance. We're quite a mature party, but we'll still take issue with their clumsiness and plain disrespect for South Africans.
Yeah. And apart from having the Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuisen actually apologize for this, which is what you're asking for, what else do you expect from the Democratic Alliance? And also just tell us on what scale did these messages actually get sent out? Do you know why the DA would do such a thing right now?
Look, I think the DA is notorious for these underhanded tactics where they try and fearmonger and send SMSs throughout South Africans. I don't know how they get their contact details in fact. So they pester South Africans with these SMSs they send in mass, and they push this particular propaganda narrative about the ActionSA, while we've got a clearly defined point of view or policy position about immigration. We've been very consistent about it. And they've been, quite frankly, nowhere. In fact, people forget that the Democratic Alliance is the kind of official opposition in the country. I think they've vacated that seat, they've left it in God's hands, and they realize that they're in trouble. So they resort to these childish tactics, which they believe will win them support by fear-mongering, really, and pushing such a distasteful and irresponsible message. So we expect of them to really do a deep introspection. And sometimes, in fact, many times, our expectation of them to be just sensible politicians who put the country first is often misplaced in anything when you expect the Democratic Alliance to actually be sensible in this case. But we're still insisting, because this is now public record, and we take issue with how they really cheapen the pain of South Africans and how they use what happened in last year, where over 300 people dying, using it as a political football for them to do as they please with the pain of South Africans.
What is your position as ActionSA on immigration in South Africa, and also the way in which the anti-foreigner sentiment seems to be growing in this country?
Our position has been clear. One, we welcome foreigners into the country. When you come into the country, you must come through our ports of entry. You must come as a tourist, and it must be for a defined period of time. And when you come to work in the country, there must be a work visa. When you come and invest in the country, you must also meet the relevant criteria and laws that govern that. And we believe that we should not be entertaining people who come into the country illegally. Law enforcement must firstly prevent them from coming into the country, and once they're detected and found in the country, they must be returned back to their homes. So we're not saying we're totally against foreigners, but we've been clear that in South Africa, we've got a problem of undocumented foreigners. And these various undocumented foreigners, you find them in mass in Diepsloot, in Celo, competing for resources with our people as well, compounding the problem we find in our society, compounded by the problem of economic or lack of economic development in the country. So we have a social peg in the country, which is a youthful population without any meaningful, gainful employment, which is desperate, which is despondent in these communities. You've got a government that has stopped governing and really left it to South Africans to see for themselves. You really have corruption moving in such a rapid race in all of our society that's bastardizing our societal values and norms. You have all of these things and you have a desperate population. What do you think is going to happen? Everything happening that we're seeing every day must be placed at the doorstep of our national government. It is their inability to lead and govern this country that has brought us to the state where we are. And I must say, Shahan, quite frankly, that we will not be silenced or pushed into silence from raising these things that government should be doing, because it may seem like it's things that we should not be saying, but we've been very consistent. We are for rule of law. Just today, we were in the Magistrate Court in Randfontein, Krugersdorp, where 27 suspects appeared before the magistrate appearing for bail, who, in fact, the number of those 27, about 5 South Africans, and the rest is a combination of Somalis and Pakistanis, who were arrested for allegations of fraudulently creating identity documents of South Africans. So we were there today to support law enforcement and ask law enforcement to do even more. So our position has been very clear. We say to our people, you don't have a right to go and knock on doors and determine whether this one is Tsonga, this one is Sotho. It is the role of the police and those who govern the state who should have prevented the situation that is unfolding today.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. ActionSA's Bongani Baloy.